Hi, Sarah.
Hey,
How are you?
doing fine. My leg's getting better.
Oh, good.
Thanking God for that. I'm telling you.
Amen.
Still using the rollator, but it's getting better. Sometimes I forget to use it. I'm like, oh, I forgot to use it. So that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, progressive healing.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah. I see Janet here. Good to see you, Janet. I mean, I see your name. I don't know if you're able to come on camera or what, but we're just glad to have you here. All right. I know some people like to have the meeting in listen only mode too, but hey, yeah, Janet, if you want to come on camera here, say hello, feel free. Otherwise, no pressure, no worries. Just glad to have you here. Hey, here's Kim. Good to see you, Kim.
Oh,
Hey, Kim.
How are
oh,
you doing, Kim?
doing good.
Fantastic. Well, how's the weather treating you guys where you're at?
In Georgia, it's pretty hot, but the air conditioner's working, so I'm glad.
I'm in Missouri, and it rained this morning. It was 98, 95 yesterday, and it is going to be sticky gooey today.
Hmm.
And compared to other summers, though, this is a mild summer, so I can't complain.
Well, the fair is coming, so that always means it's going to get really hot.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a lot of rain last night. We had thunder, lightning, and branches down in our driveway and took my dog for a walk this morning, had to kind of get those branches out of the way. I mean, they're just everywhere. Yeah. Otherwise, you take your vehicle down and, it's gonna stab something on the bottom.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's good. We needed that rain. It was kind of dry here, so um, yeah. Let's see
Well,
here.
how are you doing, Matt?
Oh, I'm doing well. There's been challenges, but I'm doing well, and yeah, God is good. Um, every day I just when I wake up, I say, "Thank you, Lord, for the gift of a new day," and
Hmm.
thank you for every breath, for every heartbeat. I just don't want to take any of these things for granted. I like to thank him for clean water to drink and fresh air to breathe because, these things are, you can take them for granted. They're not always guaranteed, as we can see with, some of the air pollution from the fires, from the wildfires.
Oh yeah, are y'all still getting that?
Intermittently. I think our
Okay.
air quality today is good, but we've had, several stretches, like a whole week where it was pretty bad. And so you just have to thank God for the things that you have while you have them, right?
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Hi, Donna. Good to see you.
I sorry, I had a little bit of trouble getting in there, and I forgot the 1 hour time change this morning.
Me too. I was like, I can't get in. I can't get in. I was like, oh, we start at 11 o'clock because
Oh,
we're 1 hour ahead. I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
Did we have a time change?
No, no, not even a little bit. My brain went to 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock this morning, not 9 o'clock, and so I
Oh,
was I was just washing my hair, and all of a sudden I heard a ding on the computer, and I look, and it's like, here's the link. And I go, wow, he's on the ball. That's an hour ahead. And then all of a sudden it hit me, no, it's not an hour ahead. We're starting in 5 minutes.
wow.
So
Yeah,
I'm ready.
great. Great. All right. Well,
You want to set me up as a co?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we might have a couple people filter in here partway through the meeting. That happens sometimes. But hey, Sarah, Kim, Donna, good to see you here, and to everyone else who watches later on. Yeah, happy to help with this critique, and that's the goal of this is to help you to finish your portrait well. To put those last few nuances, to make some final adjustments, to bring the portrait home, as we say. Um, And we want you to be proud of your portrait, and that's important to feel good about it. And it's a, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You've heard that expression before, but painting acrylic portraits is not easy to do, right? It's if you're just painting landscapes, landscapes have their own challenges, but you can paint trees that kind of look almost like anything, like Bob Ross, just tap it in and it's, but with people, you can't just tap it in, right? I mean, you really have to do some blending, and you really have to get the structure of the face down, the likeness, the values, the skin tones, the textures, details. And that does take some work and patience on your part. So I want to commend you to you guys here and anyone else watching. I want to commend you for your patience and your effort in taking on a portrait, because most of the folks, I think, doing the portrait challenge are, beginners to some degree, or, you haven't been doing portraits for years and years, might have done some other artwork, but many folks taking the challenges are very new at it, and it's a challenge. So I want to commend you. I want to say great job, and just continue to use that gift God has given you. At the conclusion of this portrait painting challenge, keep on painting, keep on growing in your skills. If this is something you enjoy doing, continue to do it. And there is a difference too with enjoying something and yet finding struggles and challenges during the process. That's just a microcosm. That's just a small bit of the whole thing. If you like the idea of being a portrait painter, you enjoy the idea of painting portraits of your grandchildren, or giving it away as gifts, or entering it into a show, maybe doing commissioned portraits, hold on to that ideal, and don't let any challenges derail you from that goal and that vision and that idea of being a portrait artist. So I just want to share that with you. Now, I'm going to get off the soapbox here, and I'll step up into the pulpit. No, I'm just kidding. But well, let's ask a blessing here on this critique. Father, I ask a blessing, and I ask that you would help us to encourage each other during this critique process. Thank you for the artists that have entered in and all their hard work and what they've achieved. And I pray that they feel good about that. And I pray that you would help us in this critique to give tips that would encourage the artists to kind of cross that finish line, so to speak, to bring the painting home and sign it and feel good about it. And just to, finish the work well. And Lord, I pray for anybody that's having any physical ailments, any impediments, like, aches and pains or whatever it might be. We just pray for healing in Jesus' name, provision, clarity, time to paint, materials, all those things. So bless this meeting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, Donna, glad to have you here. Adela, can't be here today, but I'm so glad you're here today, and for all the work you do in the school. Do you have anything to say? Even just anything inspirational thoughts?
Yeah, I am so blessed to be here. I am thankful every time, every day I think that goes by. I'm thankful for this group. It is wonderful. I will add, when you talk about I love the variety of things that people pull out when painting the same portrait. And I am enjoying seeing, like, some people will really focus on the smile, and I'll look at it and go, that's Diane's smile. And then the next one will be, oh, that's her eyes, that twinkle. Or the next one will be her Irish hair. And there will be something in each one. And as artists, we look at our own work and we see what's wrong with it. But I very much am enjoying looking at each individual one and seeing what's great about each one. And even people who will put their thing up and express how discouraged they are, there will be something, even if it's like, oh my goodness, look at this person's background. I wish I could do backgrounds like that. And it's just fun. And I hope and pray that the people that come in for this short little period of time for the challenge will get enough to go forward in their art journey. And I hope people will stick around, because there's been some people who have joined because of the critique that I totally enjoy their perspective, and fresh eyes on what we're doing is always a fun thing. So there's a lot of the people in that challenge that I hope will stick around, because I would really miss their input already in just the short period of time they've been here. Yeah.
Love that, Donna. That's a great perspective. Yeah. Just having many different perspectives makes the experience more enriching, and we grow together as artists.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. Kim, Sarah, do you want to share anything about your journey here in the Portrait Painting Challenge?
My art is really improving. And I have kind of gotten out of my comfort zone with this one.
Good.
Especially when it came to the hands, which is saying a lot, because I mean, when I went to another lady, it seemed like I knew a lot of the stuff already, because I buy the books and read them and stuff, but you seem to taught me some things I did not know, so, and some little tricks that I didn't see in the book, so I appreciate it. And I appreciate this critique thing too. It's good.
Yeah.
Because that's how you learn too. When you able to take criticism, that's when you learn, improve.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. And we always try to do that criticism in a positive way, never in a way that would tear somebody down or make them feel less than. And I think we do that very, very well in our group, and this being an extension of that. Yeah.
I agree. There's a big difference between critique and criticism, and just terms, because you don't have to search far in art groups to find lots of people who are really good at just giving criticism, and just rude and awful criticism. And I'm thankful that the people in this group have really respected some guidelines that have been laid out to really give critique in a way that is meant to build up, not break down. And that's when I look at it, I always try to consider it that way. Will the comment I'm about to make serve to build someone up, or break them down, break their spirit, and make them discouraged? Because then it's not critique, it's criticism.
Yeah.
And I think this group has people who are incredibly gifted at giving the critique in that positive way, with the absolute pure intention of building each other up.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is the motive that makes the difference.
I want to thank you for pointing out that, this, what we do, what we have is God's gift, and without him, we couldn't do anything.
Amen. Amen. I love that, Kim. That's right. That's right. It all comes from him, and it's through him and to him. So, and then we just bless others in the process of using our gift. Yeah, I love that.
You have the gift.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, and, and I've seen that in others as well. So collectively, we bring so much to other people, and we enrich the world around us. I can only do so much where I live, but then when other people are doing the same thing where they live, it just augments that and grows and grows. So yeah, fantastic. Well, this is our last critique. This is, I believe, our 7th critique, and this will be our final critique for the Portrait Painting Challenge. And again, I just thank you guys so much for being a part of it. And then, just keep in mind, I will be opening up the Realistic Acrylic All Access membership very soon. So if you want to continue on, you're more than welcome to do that. And I'll share more about that later. But for now, let's take a look at our images. So let me just switch over here, because that is what we're here to do. And we have 5 today. Let's see here. Yeah, here they are. So we have 5 images today, and I want to begin with Margaret. because I think we weren't able to get to her last time. So even though Margaret's not here today, let's take a look at her portrait. Okay, here we go.
Wow, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay. So Margaret, here we go. If you're watching this critique recording, great job in this painting. Hey, I love the contrast and the skin tones. So that's something that really shines out of this one. That's one of the best aspects of it. You know, like you have great contrast in the hair, good form, really nice job, especially getting some of those nuances on the left side where the hair, you know, is front of the background and it's more faded. So I really like that, and I like the overall sense of the skin tones and the lighting. You know, these dark shadows here. The smile's very nice. Good contrast with her clothing, excuse me, versus the palette. Shadows on the palette, nicely done, and you know the hands look like they're grasping the palette very well, so that's good. So yeah, great job on this. I think you know others in this group feel the same way. But let's zoom in a little bit and see if we can just help you you know add a few nuances to bring this home. So as I'm looking at it, one of the things I'm seeing would be to darken the teeth a little bit on the right hand side, you know, so her mouth is curved. Obviously we have the lighting, you know, over on the left hand side, and the best way of course is observe the light sources to see where the reflection is on the iris. You don't always see that reflection depending on if the light is far high above, then sometimes the eyelid will block that, but in this case here it's to the left, and you know, so we have the highlight on the left side of the teeth. Therefore, the right side is going to be darker, especially when we observe, you know, these deep shadows on the right side of the face. So if you can add, you know, some glazes here with raw umber dark and titanium white, this last tooth, which let's see, do we even see it? Yeah, that last tooth really should be visible for one thing, because here we have the two main teeth. You always want to first plot everything out on the mouth based off of those two front teeth. You know, all I want for Christmas is my two front teeth, right? So just base it off of those two front teeth and then work your way out to the left and to the right from there. And make sure you have as many teeth in your painting as what you have in the reference photo, because this last tooth is quite dark, so that can easily get missed, but that should be there. You can put that in with titanium white and raw umber dark. And then once you get that in with about a 50% opaque glaze, you could use the same glaze, make it more of like a 30%, and that's meaning 30% paint, 70% matte medium. You can then darken the tooth here a little bit and get a little more curvature on that jaw. The smile really should come out just a bit wider too. So, and a little bit of a different shape. You know, so it extend out a little further. And then a good benchmark is to line up on the reference photo, straight line down. I have difficulty drawing straight lines with a mouse, but from the edge of the iris, okay, so you do that on the reference photo first, then do the same thing on your painting, and then you can see where that mouth really should go. All right, so that gives you a good idea. So with that, you want to bring the lower lip out. Okay, add a little bit more there with kind of the same color you use, and that one change will really help a lot. If you guys have any feedback here for Margaret, feel free to raise your hand and share. Love to hear from you too. Yeah, and just even your encouragement will help as well. Donna, go ahead.
One thing I really noticed is how well she's done the hair. When I was looking at her hair on our left side, that hair looks so real. You've done a really good job, Margaret, of getting those dark colors in and giving that almost translucent look of the hair on the far left side. That you see lots of the background color through.
Mhm.
Just really, really nice job on the hair. One tiny thing that I would suggest, and it seems picky, and it is picky because there's lots of really good stuff. So sometimes a picky little thing can make a difference. But on her dimple on that right side, if we look at the shadow that is on the right side of that dimple, and I like to compare the value of an area with other values on the picture to see if I've got it accurate. And right now it kind of looks like that is highlighted a little bit brighter than maybe it could be. And so it's making it come out and look like a bit of a bulge rather than her dimple receding. It's bringing that out. And when I look at the shadow on the reference, that's almost as deep as the orangey color on the cheek, or the shadowy color on the bottom of the apple of her cheek. And you've got it almost as bright as the brightest highlights. So I think if you tone that down, excuse me, it will make her dimple look deeper and that other part look flatter, for lack of a better word, and really kind of emphasize the cuteness of that dimple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Minor touch up, like easy to fix or to adjust.
Yeah. Well said, Donna. I appreciate that. You're right on target. Okay, now to add on another comment, we'll do maybe one or two more for this critique here. It looks like the eyebrow area here could be a little darker. We're seeing not only the eyebrow, but some of that skull socket. Yeah, her eyebrows are quite light and sparse, but a little bit darker on this side, especially as it's in shadow. And then with that, maybe a little bit of a heavier line showing the upper eyelid fold and lower eyelid area. So we have that crease and then the bottom edge, and they're very close together, but we want to show a little separation there and a little thickness. And that's going to help too. Yeah, so also the nasolabial fold could be made just a little bit darker on this side. And I like that gradient though. That's a beautiful gradient on the forehead. Very well done. The shadow here on the nose could be a little bit darker and kind of anchor in like that a bit. Shadow underneath a little bit larger. I'm just trying to point out, you know, the things that'll give you the biggest bang for the buck, so to speak. Just, you know, kind of make the most change that I can see. But nice job in the palette and the brushes and hands. You know, I really like that. I would say her fingers, if you could maybe add a little bit of a highlight to them, that might help with, you know, titanium white, pyrrole orange, raw sienna, maybe a bit of burnt sienna, and that could help a little bit just to have them a little bit lighter than the color of the palette. But yeah, so excellent job on this, Margaret. I hope these last tips help, and yeah, great job. I'm looking forward to seeing more portraits from you. And I'm looking forward to seeing this one with your signature on it. Kim, I saw your hand go up for a second. Did you have something to say?
Yeah, I just want to commend her on the dress. I mean, that is, you can see all the folds and the shadow in the arm coming down on the right hand side. I mean, it puts that arm back just like it is on the photo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did excellent job there. Only thing I'd say is, if, like you said, if she darken up some of the shadows a little bit heavier on the face and the neck area, it would probably enhance her out a little, bring her out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
On the, you know, on both sides and under the neck area, so that way it enhances her face separation from the neck. But
Mm-hmm.
she's doing great. So
hey, thanks, Kim. Those are some really good comments. Appreciate that. All right. Well, Margaret, hope this helps, and we'll be in touch. Okay. thank you everybody for your feedback for Margaret. Let's go on next to Mary. So Mary is not in the meeting, but that's okay. We'll help her with the portrait. And again, I love all the different portrayals we have here. You know, same image, but just different features being brought out and different styles. And I guess, you know, that's really what makes things great. Just the variety. We're all aiming for realism, but we all kind of see it in a different way. Well, Mary, I really love the shading on your portrait. And I'm seeing a lot of great shading on many of these portrait challenge portraits, and yours is no exception. The highlight here on the forehead and then all those gradients, very well done. And that's not easy to do with acrylic. We all know acrylic is one of the hardest mediums to use for blending. You know, with oils, it's much easier, of course. But we have side effects with oils, and there's reasons why we're using acrylics. And some people use retardant mediums to slow down the drying time, and that's not something I teach. But, you know, when you can do it using, you know, the method we use, that's a big accomplishment, and I want to commend you on that. I like the hair. Again, love the strands and the different nuances, great depth in the hair. It's very palpable, very tactile. It's almost like you could reach out and touch it. I love the mixture of colors you have in the clothing, and you know, the wrinkles, and then how you have it lighter on this left side, and just a nice, beautiful sage green color. That's not easy to achieve either, you know, because it's not like we had that color pre-mixed, right? We had to use some blues and yellows and browns to achieve that, and you did great. And then you have a good sense of the tonal value structure, you know, the value key within the whole image. You've got, you know, the lighter palette against the darker clothing, darker shadows on the right side. And so that all is very nicely done too. So let's go over just a few things, you know, that could help you make it even better. It looks like possibly, just judging by some of the angles here of the canvas, like maybe this isn't a straight on shot. So I think the proportions look a bit off, but I think it's really more of the photo, you know, like just the angle of the photo, and you have it more looking kind of top down. So it's making her head look a little larger than it is. So we'll just take that into account as we're looking at this. And so instead, I'm going to zoom in on her face and then just see if we can help you with a few things. One thing I notice is the nasolabial fold on the left side comes down a little too far. So it's just kind of making her look maybe a little older or detracting from her smile a bit. If you can just soften that up and use a skin tone, you know, semi-opaquely with titanium white, pyrrole orange, raw sienna, burnt sienna. And I know not everyone has pyrrole orange. You can use a cad red light if you don't have that. But just kind of soften that up. That's going to help. This line too comes down too far. There is kind of an overhanging area of her eyelash, but you have to be really careful because once it gets to a certain point, the value shifts really quickly. All right, so right here is that stopping point. And then yes, you do have that curve. I mean, it actually flows all the way up, but here the value is so much lighter. And then all that is just that separation between that skull socket bone and the fleshy tissue around it. So that is actually, you know, not her eyelid. It's just kind of a crease, a wrinkle. So if you want to just lighten this area up right there, that'll help. Just a small little change will make a difference. I like the eyes. I like the reflection. I like the kind of jewel-like quality where it's darker on the left side, lighter on the right side. That's really cool to see how you did that. Great job in the other one too. I'll zoom out just a bit so I can see the overall proportions a little more. The eyebrow could be elongated just a bit, so the shape is a little bit off. If you add a little bit of a skin tone color over here and just kind of bring it out a bit further this way and then up a bit, that's going to help. Overall, these shapes are very nice, though. The nose has a great sense of three-dimensionality. All right, I see Donna's hand is up. Go ahead, Donna.
Just while you're on the nose, Matt,
Mhm.
is it my eye or is the right side of her nose just a little bit lowered? That more so on her painting than on the
Yes,
print?
it
Like if I
is.
draw a line straight along the bottom of the nose, I think she's got it angled.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. It's a little deceptive because of that shadow being cast,
Yeah, yeah.
but the structure, yeah, comes up a little higher in actuality, bringing up that nostril a little bit.
And the nose wing a little bit on the top.
Yeah, yeah, kind of that whole angle. But the nose wing and the ball of the nose. Yeah.
And Sarah has a comment. Go ahead, Sarah.
I don't know if I can show my cursor here, but the top lip, if it goes straight across, because it's kind of curving down, it should kind of go straight across, right? Kind of right here at the top. I don't know. I don't have a little pointer thing, but anyway, the top lip. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it should be kind of straight across. And it's not
Too,
picture.
too much of a divot in the middle. Is that what you're trying to say? Or?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that she, you know, you've done like, she's done like a really good likeness of her, but that would really make it even look more like her.
Okay, great. Yeah, I like that comment. Thank you.
Della told me down there on the bottom teeth on mine to lighten my bottom teeth up a little bit. So
Mhm,
that way that part of, yeah, that area, lighten those teeth up a little bit. And she
mhm.
said that way it would bring her smile out up more of her. And that was one of Della's suggestions on mine. So I just thought I'd pass that forward.
Perfect. I love that, Kim. Yeah, because Diane kind of had her teeth kind of clenched together. That was the kind of bite she had. She didn't have like an overbite. Her teeth met together. I just remembered that with her smile, very aligned top and lower jaw. And so that is a distinctive feature, seeing those bottom teeth, that's important to bring out. So I'm glad you pointed that out. Okay, so I would say that the right side of the forehead, you could use a little more gradation here, Mary, a little more shading and blending to blend that out. So just match this color here as best you can with maybe a raw umber, burnt sienna, alizarin crimson, and then mix a lighter version, taking the same color and adding a little bit of titanium white, raw sienna, maybe a bit of pyrrole orange, and then just kind of massage those areas together. You would just kind of overlap this and do something that's a little lighter than the right side and a little darker than the left, and just kind of get a gradient going there. And you can use a flat brush to do that, maybe like a 1/2 inch or something should work pretty well. Okay, let's just zoom out and take a look at the rest of it for a moment. Yeah, a good structure on the fingers. Maybe this bottom finger could come down a little bit, but they all look very believable, and they look like they're holding the palette very nicely. So that's nicely done, and I love the shading on there. I love the brush strokes and the color, and it looks really like wood. So well done there. Maybe the armpit could come up a little higher. But yeah, you guys see anything else you'd like to share? Give you guys an opportunity. What do you guys think of the background? Isn't that background nice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
It's really
really,
good.
yeah, that's really nice blending from the cooler tones to the warmer tones. All right, well, Mary, great job on this. I hope these tips help you to bring it home, and yeah, keep up the great work. Looking forward to seeing this with a signature and more portraits down the line. All right, so let's move on to our next portrait, and Let's go with Sarah. Sarah, go ahead and tell us about your painting and how we can help.
Okay, let me see. Look at the real deal here. My hands have improved, but that's still kind of think they probably need some more improvement on. I darkened the dress up and the palette and worked on the brushes and fooled around a little bit with the hair,
Mm-hmm.
I think. And I noticed before that was real red kind of, so I fixed that. You know, so that looks better than it was because that was real red. It looked like she was blushing over here. So I fixed it kind of better there. So I don't know what else do y'all need. Oh, I know. There was something else too when you bring that in.
Mm-hmm.
The canvas over on this side, there was like a little dark place I didn't forgot to put there. Yeah, right.
On a dark place on what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like where the not the canvas, but the palette. You know, like over here you see just a faint little black line. I don't have it over here. Right where her elbow and the dress is, there should be a little, just a faint line going between the elbow and the dress on the palette. Yeah,
Oh, you mean on?
because it's in the picture. Yeah, because it's in the picture.
Yeah, yeah. That's just the showing the thickness of the palette.
It looks like I could probably put more color in the hands too now.
Yeah. Well, hey, Sarah, great job on this. I love the vibrance. You know, this quality you have in this portrait is just kind of what I call the halation effect, where you've got some warmer colors next to darker tonal values, where those dark values meet the lighter values, and you have some intense colors. Kind of have that going throughout here. So it seems to be part of your style. You know, almost a slight aspect of like pointillism or impressionism in this, which, you know, I think is good. You know, it just gives it a certain vibrance, and I like the brushwork on the dress. You know, you kind of have vertical strokes and horizontal strokes to smooth that out. I can see that. That's very nice done. Good tonal value contrast between her clothing and the palette. So that's great too. So biggest thing I would see to improve it would be just to get some more warmer tints into her skin tones. Because right now the skin tones, like the chin, is looking a little chalky. And I know if you were doing anything using titanium white, that can happen pretty quickly. But the best thing I could recommend would be to go over the entire face with a glaze of pyro orange, if you have that color, that kind of red orange. Yeah, I think pyro orange might be the best. Maybe just a hint of raw sienna, just so it's not too strong. But make the glaze, you know, very, very light, you know, like a 95 matte medium, 5% paint ratio. And you might do one glaze, see how it changes it, let it dry, do another glaze, and just kind of warm this whole area up. And you might need to follow up and hit just the chin with another glaze, but then add a little Indian yellow into that same mixture. And with that, you'll kind of warm that color up a bit because it's just a little bit grayish, just a little chalky. And when you have the skin tones in her face warmer, it's going to really liven it up, I think. Yeah, and it won't be difficult to do that. That's the beauty of the glazing technique, is because you can go over the whole thing and just say, you know, I want to shift this color. I want to shift this a little bit to red or a little bit to yellow or whatever. And you don't have to repaint all of your details, all of your blending. If you're doing it opaquely, you'd have to go over everything all over again. But you don't have, with this, one or two glazes, it take you 5-10 minutes, you're done. And you'll
How about the hands?
Yeah.
So I put just a slight glaze on them, you know. I don't want to make it exactly like the palette, but they look kind of white looking, so.
Yeah, I would do the same thing. And, you know, her skin tones are a little more to the reddish side, at least as far as how they appear in this image. But it does give good differentiation between that and the palette color. So yeah, I would do that. I would add the glaze to that as well. So that would be the biggest thing that could bring some change for it. Now let's zoom in on the face a little bit more. And let's see here. So on the right-hand side, on her right eye on the right side, I think it needs some more contrast. So if you can develop this a little more, darken, you know, this eyelid crease and that whole area right here, this area below, darken that.
Okay.
And this whole shadow here, you know, some of these shadows just really could get a little bit darker and more defined. This shadow here, isolating her chin from her jaw structure, needs to be developed more. So a glaze, kind of like what I'm annotating here, would help.
That'd be like the burnt sienna, maybe.
Raw umber dark, or
Raw
raw umber, if that's what you have, with a little bit of burnt sienna and alizarin crimson, I think would work well. Yeah, just to get that separation on her face, get more depth. The iris here could get a little bit darker too. Teeth could get a little bit darker on the right side.
Yeah.
Maybe when you're, you know, after you get the glazes on the face, go over the lips a little bit with some naphthyl red.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, and warm them up a little bit as a glaze. You know, those kinds of things will help. There's a little bit of an upturn on her lip here on this left-hand side. You might want to get in there. So yeah, just some little things. You know, a lot of little things make a difference. Yeah, and I like the palette, and you know, the hands and everything are looking good. Did you guys have any feedback here for Sarah?
The upper right-hand side of her forehead, it looks like either needs a little more hair or a little more shadow. Yeah.
On the right hand. Okay. Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I love I mean, I love the paint. It looks like a watercolor. I like everything about it. It has the watercolor look, which is really cool.
Thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. That's a good comment there on the hair. That'll help. Because yeah, the forehead is a little bit kind of almost pulled up in this direction. And adding that shading there will help round it out more. That's good. Adding a glaze down here, Sarah, could help too. Pyro orange and naphthyl red, a little bit of raw sienna, just kind of shade that in. And that's going to give you a little more separation between her neck and her face. So did you have any questions on this, Sarah, or anything else we could help you with?
I think that's it. I appreciate the critiques.
Yeah, well, you're doing a great job. So I would love to see this after you make these changes. Go ahead and post it in our group. And yeah, even though this is our last critique here, feel free. Absolutely. I encourage you, in fact, to post your portraits in the group and get continued feedback. Okay, well, let's move on to our next artist. Hey, Della, I see you there. Thanks for joining, even while you're in your cabin. You know, you didn't have to do that, but thank you. Glad to have you here. All right. Well, let's move on next to Kimberlyn. Kimberlyn, go ahead and tell us about your painting and how we can help. Go ahead, Kim. You can unmute yourself.
It almost seems like, I mean, I'm still working on that mouth. I mean, it's I'm not sure on the left hand side, the top of the lip, it almost looks like I need to do something with that. And my color of my dress is kind of a an odd color. But how can I get it closer to, I mean, that's where I have my problems getting closer to the correct colors. I've worked on the hand some and they probably could use a little bit more work, but
Yeah. All right. Well, Kimberlyn, great job on this. I love the, again, the shading on the face is fantastic. I know this is your first portrait, so just high fives for that. But really good job on the shading. Again, it's not easy to do with acrylics, but, you know, when you can do that kind of blending, you know, and then you just dial in a little bit more of some of the specific forms and value structure and anatomy. I mean, you'll be off and sailing doing many, many amazing portraits. But I love it. Again, really good blends here on the right side, you know, blending out of the dark into the light, highlights on the forehead, highlights on the nose, very gentle gradations. The hair, you know, I love those little nuances. And this is good because this challenge, and you can develop the skills of painting realistic hair. You're going to be able to utilize that in future portraits too. Now, you had talked about her mouth. Let's kind of take a look at that here. We do have Della here. Della, if you see something right now, you want to jump in, now is your opportunity. So we want to help her with the mouth.
I just see on the left side, on the top lip, and you did say this, Kimberlyn, that it has to come up a bit more. And I think on the bottom, the lip shape is just a little different than what you've got, but gosh, you've just really captured her so well.
Thank you, Della. See right here, add a little bit of reddish color with alizarin crimson, naphtha red, burnt sienna, and raw umber dark. All those colors.
all of those colors, okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of colors, isn't it? But
Yeah.
if you combine all those colors, it'll give you a really good richness to that tone. And if you bring that up, like Della was saying, a little bit higher on this left side, a little bit lower on this side where you can see just a bit more of the bottom teeth.
Okay.
All right, and that nice highlight right here, where you can use you know, titanium white and a bit of pyro orange. On the top, when you mix this color here, you know, to fill in that area, just take that same color and maybe add a little more like naphtha red to it, okay, and then make it a little more translucent with more matte medium, and then glaze on top of her lip right here to get just a bit more of what we're seeing there.
Okay.
That's really what's going to make the difference for you.
Okay.
Bottom edge, just make sure that comes up a little bit higher. All right, there's just a little more of an upturn, and that's really going to enhance that smile. The nasolabial fold could get just a little darker. But yeah, those little changes will help. I'm not sure what's going on with the teeth. It's like I'm seeing a little bit of like some lines here. I'm not sure what that is.
My canvas, as you can see, my canvas is very grainy.
Okay.
And it's like a challenge every time I do something because the canvas catches the colors. I mean, it's because you can see it, so you can see how it goes. It's really grainy. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I sand that. I think I should sand it.
Is that the weave?
Now, not no more.
Is that the weave of the canvas?
Yes, I think so. Because if you have, that's where I'm having my problems with. It just keeps on catching there.
Okay.
Every time I look at it, it's just like, okay, well, I got it, and it's like, nope, I see it, and I don't know if it's the photo.
Yeah.
Just,
Well,
can I
different
cut
lighting.
in?
Yeah, go ahead, Ella.
You could sand that now a little bit, because I've had to do that with just a little bit of sandpaper, smooth those teeth out a bit, and that might help.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, I think it's, like I said, I think it's the canvas. It's just like, it's been fighting me the whole time.
Yeah, it is challenging when the canvas texture gets in the way. for sure. And the lighting too. If you have lighting from above, it can kind of exaggerate those grooves. So when you're taking a photo of it, if you have more, lighting coming straight at it, it'll probably look different. But you could try the suggestion of sanding it. Just be careful. Use a very fine grit, 220 or higher. You don't want to, tear a hole in your
Yeah.
paint layer. So, but yeah, so great job with this. I think some of the details like around the eyes could get a little darker. Some of your darkest values you could go over with raw umber or raw umber dark if you have that, mixed with the alizarin crimson, and just darken some of these darkest values around the eye. That would help. Some of the darkest shadows, on the side of her face could get a little darker. Yeah, that's the main thing I'm seeing. But I think overall, when I look at it, it really is a nice likeness of her. You've got kind of have her eye color there too, kind of that hazel color. And her clothing, the color's a little more vibrant in yours than it is in the reference photo. It's not certainly within the realm of possibility to have a more vibrant green. So if you want to change it, you can. You could leave it as it is. But if you want to change it, take on the challenge of doing that, it'd be a matter of matching this color opaquely as closely as you can. And you could start with like phthalo blue, Indian yellow, and then to cool it down, add ultramarine blue and a bit of raw umber dark. And that's going to tone it down more. Palette could get a little bit darker if you wanted to add some glazes of like burnt sienna to it, with raw sienna, but it's good. Overall, I think this is a winner. This is a great portrait.
Thank you.
Yeah. So looking forward to seeing your signature on it.
Okay.
All right. I think we have time for just one more. So let's finish up here with Mehdi. All right. Mehdi's not in the meeting today, but we'll give her some help here. So Mehdi, really, wow, you've added a lot to this. It's changed quite a bit since we've last seen it, and love the shading on the background. Really nicely done. How it just kind of glows around here. Very well done. Good tonal value contrast. You have a good sense of the separation between the value of her shirt and the palette. Nice sense of the waves and the hair, the light shining through the hair from the background. There's a lot of depth there. That's very well done. Yeah, so let's zoom in and see how we could help you with a couple of things. So I would say probably the biggest thing would be just a little more nuance on a few areas, like the eyebrows could be a little bit lighter, and right now they're a little stylized, so the curves are a bit too pronounced. In the reference photo we have a little more complexity in the angles, so I'm just going to outline it so you can see it. This is more of what we're looking at. So if you can kind of lift up the eyebrow on this left hand side, lighten it up a bit with skin tone color, titanium white, raw sienna, pyro orange, things like that. That's going to help. Lift up this other eyebrow and try to get in those complex shapes a little more. That's going to help. And then also, there's a little bit of a change with the some of the proportions, like the wing of the nose could come out a little more to the left and be a little higher, and the nasolabial fold could come out a bit more. The sclera on the eye, the white of the eye, still needs to get darker. And I know that's probably counterintuitive, right? Because we think of eyes as being white, but they're really not. The only time eyes look white is if the light is shining directly on them. So we want to darken that with titanium white and raw umber or raw umber dark if you have that. And the shadows on her face could get a little bit darker too. All right, and then bring that shadow kind of into the eye socket here. I can see kind of the shape you've added to her mouth. That's well done. She just needs to have a little more shading on the teeth on the right-hand side. And I think that'll help. And excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. So, Medi, some tips for you. Did you guys have anything to add to that?
I could add, Matt, that on the left side, the teeth come up a little bit higher.
Okay, great. Good observation. Yeah, so right in here, bring the teeth up. It's like Della's saying, and observe kind of how far they come out based on the wing of the nose. And they at least this much, maybe even more. The bottom teeth should come out more too. Just trying to fill this in here using these annotation tools. Is that what you're seeing, Della?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And just the tiniest little bit can make all the difference in a smile or in the eyes or whatever. So yeah, just a little bit is what it needs.
Yeah. And then this little area on the bottom lip, currently you have that divot. There is a divot here, but you have it a little exaggerated. Sometimes we see something and we note that feature and then we tend to just exaggerate it a little bit. And so we have to constantly look at it again and again and say, am I making it too pronounced? Can I soften it a bit more? So that line, because she does have that a little bit of a divot here, but it's not as much as what you have. So I would soften that up a bit by raising up this highlight a little on this side and then getting rid of that sharp area of contrast below. Just soften that with a little bit with the skin tone. And then that coupled with raising the teeth up should really help. Okay, let's zoom out. Yeah, so the hands are looking good overall. I do see that this finger could come down a little bit more. And in fact, it's actually a little bit shorter than the other one. Yeah, the fingers might be just a little bit small. So I would just enlarge them a little bit with some skin tone if you can. But overall, really like the contrast. Palette's looking good. Could maybe be rounded just a little bit on this side. Just mix it opaquely, titanium white, raw sienna, pyro orange, Indian yellow. Just get a nice kind of orangey brown color, and use a small brush and just add on. You'll have to go obviously behind your paint brushes, but it's just a little bit cut off on that side. So just make sure we'll have it looking nice and round. Nice job on those highlights, with the light hitting the hair on that side. That's good. So overall, really good portrait, and I hope you're proud of what you've accomplished, Medi. So again, I'm looking forward to seeing a signature right there or right there. Where do we sign our portraits? Do we sign them on the right side or on the left? Let's see. I don't know what you guys think. Usually on the right side, I think, is what most people do. But occasionally you sign it on the left. But looking forward to seeing your signature there, Medi. Great job in this. And that's it for today. We got through all of our critiques. So fantastic. And we're at the top of the hour. Perfect. All right. So guys, gals, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining our critique sessions. Some of you have joined, almost every week. And I know it's not possible for everybody based on your schedules, but for those of you who have joined in regularly, thank you so much. And I'm proud of your progress. Looking forward to seeing your portrait finished with a signature on it. Now, when you get it done, post it in the group and let us celebrate with you, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. So Della, thanks for picking up here and
No
help.
worries. Yeah, Donna just had to step out, so no worries.
No, that's awesome. You guys are like tag team. I mean, you're just there for each other. It's D&D, Della and Donna. I just love it.
Well, thank you, Matt, for hosting these. I know that a lot of people have got a lot of help from this. And it is, these live critiques are like nothing else.
Yeah, I love it. It's just so fun to meet with other artists and just encourage and see the changes. I mean, I love transformation. So anyway, keep up the great work, guys. God bless you. Have a great rest of your week, and we will be in touch.
Happy painting, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a
Bye-bye.
good day.
Bye. Yep. See ya.